Keepin On looks at the journey of aging through the power of music. Hello, I'm Van Owens Hayes, host of the podcast Keepin On, which is brought to you by Walker West Music Academy, where they harness the power of music to foster academic achievement, success, healing, and joy. What helps you keep on doing what you do? Is it music? Music can comfort, heal, inspire, and uplift. It can make you want to sing, dance, tap your foot, create, and learn. Music can help you keep on, keeping on. Today, our topic is responding to the Spirit, and it's a conversation with singing artists Gevonee Ford and Gwen Matthews about the spirit of connecting to their cultural roots through song. So I want to welcome you and ask each of you to introduce yourselves and give us a couple sentences about who you are. And we'll start with you, Gwen. Welcome.
Oh, boy. Hi. I'm Gwendolyn Matthews, born as Gwendolyn, but I go by Gwen or Gwinchy. As I say, if there's a Gucci, there's a Gwinchy. So, I am a vocalist, have been in the business for almost 60 years, doing sessions and studio work. I started in high school. And so now I am performing constantly, writing shows and still doing a bunch of studio and background design work, because I call it, design, because when you're writing background parts, it's creative. And so I like to say I'm designing it rather than what other people might use. I always have to be a little bit different. So that's what I do. I'm a mom and I'm a grandma.
Welcome. And Gevonee.
Well, Hotep, it is such an honor to have this invitation and to be a part of this conversation, which is really important. Which I'm sure we'll dive into more a little bit later. I'm Brother Gevonee Ford. I am the eldest son of two pastors, Apostle Leslie Ford Jr. and Pastor Rose Ford. And I lift that up because my music journey, like so many of us, began in the church. And it wasn't by choice. In the church, growing up, you was going to do something. And so those really are the genesis of my musical roots and my musical journey. But I also work in the field of education, specializing in literacy for the whole family, tied to cultural identity, and helping our children and families really achieve a mindset that they can be self-determinizing. So, again, it's just a pleasure to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah,
well,
it is a pleasure.
I am so honored to have both of you. And I thought of some common threads that I can ascribe to the two of you. And they are talented, gifted, humble, national acclaim, generous spirit, and you embrace the community. And so, since we know that music soothes our soul, lifts our spirits, and connects us with family values and cultural roots, I want to ask you to share with us how music sparks an idea or a concept that inspires you to apply that feeling to your music.
Wow. I would say just every day. Every day there's something that can jump out at me and make me say, hey, I think I should do a show on this or do a show on that. I mean, because when I was 4, I didn't have the experience with growing up in a gospel-type church because I went to Catholic schools. But my grandfather was a Methodist minister, and so that was Oklahoma summertime. So when I was a little girl, I would open my mouth really wide and sing, and I felt that it gave me so much joy. I remember being 4 years old and opening up my mouth and then being back into the Catholic schools. Nothing wrong with Catholic schools and that, but I never felt that urge. So, I think that anything I can see, anything I can touch, anything I can feel can bring me back to that basic spiritual moment of being blessed and wanting to share that blessing.
Before Gevonee answers, I just need to respond by saying in your bio, I think it said that you came into the world singing.
Yes.
So I think that was an early gift, Gevonee.
Yeah, I thought my mother thought I was making noises and like being fussy, and her girlfriend said that baby is singing. So that's what I hold on to. I forgot about that little part, or big part.
Well, for me, music and community and spirit and life are inseparable. They all live as one and the same. When I was listening to Gwen, my mind was going back to the many times when I've been on stage and have kind of like stepped outside of myself and asked myself, what is actually going on here? Because there's those moments where there is no separation between me or the artist on stage and the audience. It's like we get to create space and the experience together. And it's in that space where spirit moves, healing happens, growth happens, shackles come off, right? And so I always leave those spaces and those times with such gratitude that I get to use my gift to be a part of creating space with others where healing and restoration can take place. And I take that into all areas, all parts of my life, personal, professional, and the like, and my family.
Both of you have sung with just a variety of people, local, nationally, well-known, about to be known, however you want to describe it. But what do you get from singing together?
Oh. This is my baby brother.
This is my big sister.
You know, we got different parents, but God put us together. The thing is that when I have to tell this little story about Gevonee. He
okay,
might not.
You can tell
can
it.
I tell it?
You can tell
okay.
it. Don't tell it all.
I won't tell it all.
Tell the most important part. Okay. All right.
See, the thing is, when Gevonee first came to when I first met Gevonee and he came to my house and we got to talking, because I liked him instantly. And when we started working together a lot, he says, I don't really like people. I said, well, you don't like people? He goes, no, I don't really like people. I said, well, you're going to love me. And you know what? He loves me. And I love him, but we give each other such energy and we feed each other constantly. And on the stage is shared. It's shared moments. It's not about who's better. It's just about who's giving. And when we're giving together, and we're prompting each other. We're applauding each other so that we can be our very best for our audiences, but also for each other and for ourselves. So I don't know what else to say after that, but you know.
Well, I'll jump in there. It's not that I didn't like people. I just take a period of time to observe, to check boxes, and to make sure everything is everything.
Yeah, okay.
But our relationship has just, music has been at the foundation, certainly, but it has transcended that. There will be times when I'm thinking about a project or going through something personally, and the phone will ring. Or I'll pick up the phone, and we mirror each other. How many times have you been going through something similar that I've been going through, unbeknownst to either of us? But it's really a spiritual connection.
It really is. And you know, sometimes you can forget. I always say the so-and-so down up in there gives you amnesia. And sometimes you can forget who you are and what you are and whose you are, more importantly. And when you talk to someone who knows you, who gets you, who loves you, and they bring you back to your moments, and they say, well, wait a minute now. That's not necessarily true about you. You know, this is da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you need to hear da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and all of a sudden you find yourself filling up, and overflowing, going, thanks for reminding me. It's because it's not like an ego thing at all, because ego is edging God out. I heard that from Oprah. So ego doesn't work to me on a stage. Your heart works. Your love works. And I like to work with people with big heart. And Gevonee's heart, oh, man, it's huge. And he's huge in my life. Just huge. So I don't want to do the shows that I build and stuff. We talk them over, don't we? And sometimes it takes years before that show actually gets up on the stage. I'm encouraged by Gevonee. He'll give me everything I need in food, and then I know to go to God, who's going to give me everything I need and the food that I need, other than the food that I like, but the food that I need.
and it is so reciprocal, and we really are mirrors of one another and with one another. And then when we have the opportunity to share a stage and create that bond and that connection with the audience, some who follow us and some who are introduced to us for the first time, but it doesn't matter because we get to be the we.
Yeah, we do.
And so the relationship that we have built and that we maintain and nurture over years, we get to bring that and build upon that and invite others into that space.
Leaving them with an experience that they won't forget. It's all about the experience. We recently did one of my shows. It's Aretha and her men, meaning Aretha and the men she did, the famous men that she did duets with. Well, Gevonee and I talked that through, and finally, it came to fruition. And just watching the people, and selling out audience, selling out the room, and then hearing the feedback of the experience. We've adapted that word to our shows now. It's about coming for the experience. We're having an experience so that you can have the experience and take it home. And we just stay free, because if you're not free, you can't experience. You're all bottled up. We stay free. And Gevonee, when he gets through, like, with a change is going to come, you better get your scrape and try to pick yourself up, because he's leaving it all out there on the stage. You know what I mean? He's leaving it. So we do that for one another.
How does your audience inspire you?
For me, a lot of times it's after the moment has passed or after the show is done. I was thinking about this the other day. A few years back, I did a performance at a mall. Remember the Galleria, Jazz at the G?
Yeah.
So I'll never forget, there was a woman after the show who heard the show on the radio. It was being simulcast. And she stopped what she was doing, drove to the Galleria, and was sitting in the front row. After the show, she came up and shared her story. She was battling cancer. And she said something about the vibration and the music and the experience she had to be connected to. A few years later, she reaches back out to me via email. She said, I know you probably don't remember me. I'm the woman who was battling cancer and had to be there. I told you that night, she said, that I'm going to beat cancer and I'm still here. 2 years later, she sends me that email. I just want you to know I'm still here.
That's awesome.
And so what we get from the audience is deep and personal in that moment, but a lot of times and this is true of for all of us in any walk of life. We never know what the next person is going through, and each and every time that we have the opportunity to speak into someone's life, we get to choose to speak life, to uplift, to encourage. Because you never know those seeds that we plant. As long as we're planting them on good ground, they're going to sprout in the Creator's time. So what we get from the audience is so much.
It really is. One of the things that I recall was going to my first time in Paris. And I'm not speaking French very well, even though I did take a little bit. And they're not speaking English very well. But the guy says to me at the end of the show, oh, you made my day. You made my day. And I went, I made your day? And he says, yes. And I went, here's the person that's speaking very little English who could understand through the vibrations, I like that word, and the feeling of spirit coming out to them, that they, whether you can speak it or not, you're feeling it. You're feeling the energy that's coming from myself or Gevonee or the musicians on the stage. And then with us, rather than in a big, huge, we've played big, huge events, but when we get to reach out and touch, and I remember a gospel, when I did my gospel group, sometimes God would say, put your hand on that person. And that person would cry. And I'm like, I don't have nothing special. What the heck? You know? And I said to God, because I'm not a gospel singer, but I'm a singer who likes to sing gospel. It's a bit different because it's not my life career in that way, but giving back and allowing God to speak through you. And sometimes, on rare occasions, God sings to you. Sometimes my voice is coming back at me where God is singing, and I lose it because that's a whole other conversation, you know. But it's just looking at my people, and I do look at them, and I am going after whatever their feelings are. Because sometimes, like when my mother passed, the audience lifted me. Mm-hmm. The people gave me love, and they didn't even know what they were doing for me. But they gave me love. And sometimes, and I'm not a crier, but sometimes I would allow myself to be vulnerable. And that touches people, that vulnerability that we all have. And when you're laying it out there like that and not caring, I don't care about the wrinkle in the dress. I don't care about the funny look on my face. I don't have no lipstick and I could care less. You know, it's not that, because we all start to shine. And when we're shining and when the glow of the Lord is on you and when the Spirit is really big and strong, don't nobody know what you look like at that point, because they're looking at a beam of light that's coming through you, you know.
That's beautiful. You made me think of a trip I took decades ago to the Bahamas. And I really wanted to connect with the people there because I was in a resort and it was all sort of fluff in terms of not connecting to the people that were native to that community. And there was this man under a bridge, and when he saw me, he started singing. Mm. And it was a beautiful song. I don't even remember it, but it was so beautiful. He knew all the words in English, but when I went to talk to him, he could hardly speak.
Oh.
And it was such an emotional moment because I thought he chose to reach out to me through a song that he thought I would appreciate, which I definitely did. So I can see that the two of you demonstrate that kind of spirit of connectedness that enables people to maybe reach into themselves, mm-hmm. you know, to share. And so we haven't talked about songs. So what songs do you like to sing together that sort of make you feel like you're really building a connection?
You know, the most recent one is "Love All the Hurt Away." Mm-hmm. We found that song with George Benson and Aretha, right?
Yes.
And when we sing that song, we might as well be in a little bubble, even though the audience is there. We might as well be in our own little bubble singing that song because it is so beautiful, you know. And you can love all the hurt away, no matter what the hurt is. And this is probably coming from lovers, but we are all lovers of life, and life teaches you whatever you're going through, how to love, because none of us really know how. And I think that when we go through things and we think that that thing is like horrendous, it's a stepping stone to something greater. And so "Love All the Hurt Away" is like one of my favorite pieces that you and I do. And a change is going to come, but you're the star in that one. When he sings that song, he's the star in that one.
I'll say that the audience is a star.
Okay.
Because on that song in particular, I draw from them and give them back what they're giving me. But we can't forget about our long-standing duet. I'll be there.
Yeah, we do a different little version of that.
We bring our own take to it, our own spices to that one.
Yeah.
But the message in that song is so relevant for so many people.
There's so many. As simple
timeless.
as it is.
It's timeless.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've sang that song on stages far away as Hong Kong.
Yes, we have.
The Caribbean islands.
Yes, we have. Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yes.
Yeah. The Big Island.
The Big Island.
Maui.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Yes, we have been everywhere.
You're making me jealous.
And no matter what part of the world we're in, that song always touches.
It
right?
does.
Because it's the message.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. And it's a good song.
It is.
Well written, well constructed.
And simple.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't need complication to feel. Simplicity goes a long way. Sometimes the people sing and they do all them vocal acrobats. And it's like, can I please hear the melody? Could you just sing the daggone song?
What's the song about? Give me the lyric.
Yeah, just give me something, because, oh, sure, we can all riff and run, like doing all that kind of stuff. But to sing the song, and to hold the notes, and to be impressive with yourself that way, or to draw. And I always have this thing. We get a blank canvas every time we perform, and then by the end of the night, it's filled with all kinds of color and pictures. We're the painters of that music that night. So paint and be well with it.
How does your music experience reflect or express family and cultural values?
I'll let you answer that one first.
So my mind immediately goes to something that my father instilled in me and my siblings. Son, you got lots of talents. You got lots of gifts. Just make sure you use them all. And don't get stuck in a box. Use them all. Because number one, they were given to you. I'll never forget that because it stuck with me over all these many decades. A gift, you can't work for a gift. You can't earn a gift. The Creator has given each of us gifts that are unique, and we have a responsibility to study those gifts, to understand the gifts, to develop and strengthen and build the gifts so that we can use them all, right? And so music is one of the gifts, and that connection with, I always go back to my father's words, use all your gifts and be sure to understand that it's not just about you, but to God be the glory, right? And so those values that my family have instilled, elders in the community have instilled in me. I know I referred to this earlier, but it always leaves me feeling in awe and privileged and humbled that I have been given the gifts and I have the opportunity to use the gifts, not just on stage, but in my friendships with my family and in the community. So I'm just grateful.
My baby sister said something to me once, and I thought she'd really kind of like went overboard. She says, she used to help me a lot. She goes, "You're a genius. You're a genius at your music." I went, "I'm a genius? I've never heard genius used that way." And I don't know that I think that way, but she thought that way. And she comes and she helps me. And I think that with your family can or cannot choose to support you. My mother being my number one fan, so I really miss her. But my siblings do gather around, and they do support the things that I'm doing as often as they can. And, it's like, how could she feel that way? I must be doing something right or walking the path the right way in which I'm giving to them, because they're all baby sisters. I'm 16 years older than my baby sister, 13 and 9 and 13. I'm the oldest. Supposed to be smartest, but the oldest, But it was my intention to talk into their lives and to speak into their lives. And then in return, they speak into mine. And since Mama's gone, I'm the matriarch, so I've got to be all this for my family. But they come out, and they'll come out like 4th of July times. They might come out today to support, but I can't expect it all the time. But hey, I don't think I could do this completely as freely as I do without that foundation, the foundation. And when Gevonee is speaking about gifts, I say that we are creatives. That's how I do it. I didn't have my dad to say that, but I say that I'm a creative. That means there's so many different veins and vines to the branch, because there were times when I catered. There were times when I sold my cakes during holidays. There were times when I actually made linen for famous basketball players. I made choir robes. I used every piece of that creativity and kept coming up with new ways to be creative, writing songs for kids, writing playthings, whatever it is. And I tell that to my granddaughter, who is into animation. So she just wants the job in animation. I said, no, you're great with your hands. You are great with your ability to see things in different ways than I do. She's designing candles now. I said, use every bit of your creativity while you're building your foundation of who you really want to be. You don't know how God's going to lead you. You might start in animation and then have a candle business. I don't know. So, yeah, you use them all. I love what your dad says, and I have done that. I could go to Apostle Ford and say, I used all my gifts. I'm still using them.
Well, there's a spirit of connection between you two, and I hear it between your audience, with you and your audience. And it's so inviting. To build this, how do you feel that happens? I mean, what about that connection between you connects with the audience that makes it something special?
Free.
Mm.
Free.
Free?
Free. You have to be free on stage. If you're on stage and you're all bottled up, no one can get in, nothing can get out. And I have so much fun. I mean, there was a time in my life when sitting so close to somebody would make me crazy. But the closer I can get to you now, the better I like it. Because I feel that I'm getting a chance to plug into you. You're getting a chance to plug into me. And free, because you don't know which way the song is going to go. You know how it's supposed to go. But maybe you're going to take a break in the song. Maybe the song, there's some people out there and you're really feeling the energy and you're calling that energy to come to you, come forth. And it will show up. If Gevonee can go out there and he can, all of a sudden, he's a minister. I'm sorry, he got Apostle Ford. Now, y'all get it. Come quickly now. Now, I know you're out there. Stand up. Come on, stand up. Y'all way in the back. Stand up. The 5 of you, stand up. The 3 of you, stand up. And the next thing you know, the whole room is standing up. Because he can just do that. That in him, that in you. I mean, we all do our thing, but when I see you do that, I just sit back and I just go, wow. Watch him go, and the people want that. They want to be included and they want to be fed. Mm-hmm. We're in a time of life right now that is crazy and chaotic. So the more we can reach out and touch and feel people, bring the human beings in. We know what it was like during COVID. We need each other. We need people to be connected to one another. So we have that opportunity again to reach out and touch. It's so important.
That makes me think about those moments when those connections with the audience are happening. Sometimes we have to give each other permission to let go.
Yeah.
Permission to be present.
Yeah.
Give each other permission to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned over the years is you can't fake or manufacture those moments, right? You can't fake the funk. And so what I've learned, and I do my best to practice, is to really ground and center myself before a performance. And, over the years, I've kind of filled up my satchel with centering rituals. And my latest over the past few years has been me and John Coltrane fellowshipping. Love supreme. Oh, my God. Because I've got to go inward first and settle and center myself so that I can be that vessel, so that I can be that conduit, and so that I can hold the space so that we can then create spaces together and be together present. And so that connection with the audience it's a two-way street, and it's sacred.
Yep.
It's a sacred space. And again, it's not a thing that can be manufactured.
Well, you can't buy that.
That's right.
And you can't buy charisma. Charisma, you're either born with it. God has said, bring, a bring, a bring, a bring. And then, you either have that or you don't. And it's something super, super special. You're not even aware of it most of the time, I'm not anyway.
When you were talking before and you were saying reach out and touch, I kept hearing the song, Reach Out and Touch. And it made me think, what song do you think describes who you are?
Wow. In a sense, which is kind of offbeat, but Natural Woman describes me a whole lot.
You sing it like it describes you a whole lot. I don't mean to interrupt, but I remember something that your best friend, Cookie, said. You are one of the few artists that can sing a song like Natural Woman, and you forget that someone else sang it.
Yeah.
Because you own it.
Yeah. It becomes my song, but that's the difference in when I build shows. I don't want to build a theme show like Aretha. I'm not Aretha, so I don't want to necessarily be considered her, but we are doing the music of that artist, which allows us to paint the songs differently. And my read on an Aretha song is different than somebody else's. It's definitely different than Aretha's read. And anything that you do is totally Gevonee. So when you can get to that point in your career that you can really not even think about it, but trust, just allow what comes out to be real and righteous, it's wonderful. And I just want to make this other little point. When I was in Europe for the very first time, I did a workshop. One of the producers said, can you do a workshop in Paris? I went, never did a workshop before. I don't know. So then I got to praying about it. I'm going to do a workshop, and it's good. God's going to tell me how to do it every day. Okay, so that happened, and it was absolutely fantastic. I worked with kids who were classically trained, who didn't have permission to be noisy and be loud or step outside their thing. So I had all the students in their classical, whatever their classical instrument was, I wanted them to sing that instrument. And they all had to come in front of the audience, in front of the group, and sing that audience. And some were nervous, so I held their hands, But watching them come out of that, and just, and be, and have so much fun. It was liberating for me, them and their parents. They said, just do two songs. They're not going to know what you're talking about doing the recital. We did 13 songs and got 2 encores. That's what not following somebody else's ritual and ideas are. Be yourself. Do your thing. Step outside the box. You might make a mistake. So what? You make a mistake. You recover. That's what just do you.
Very nice. Gevonee.
Well, for me, that's an easy question. The song that I have been singing since I think I was maybe 5, 6 years old. Every time we'd go to church. It seemed like every time we went to church, the pastor or somebody or Mother Reed or somebody was going to ask me to get up and sing "To God Be the Glory."
Oh, yeah.
To this very day, sometimes my dad will be delivering the sermon, and he'll take a sermon break and call me up. And I was thinking to myself, these folks going to get tired of me singing that same song over and over and over. But you know what? It's my story. And I do not take credit for any of my gifts, for any of the opportunity. I take responsibility for doing my due diligence and doing my readiness work. But all praise and glory goes to the Creator.
What is it about music that enables you to keep on keeping on?
You know, life can be lifing sometimes, and sometimes that includes low moments, times that includes mountaintop moments, and regardless of what life brings, for me, in music, I find comfort. In music, I find companionship. In music, I find inspiration. In music, I find, those moments where you just want to wallow in self-pity for a minute. Music will sit right next to you and say, it's all right. Lean on me, lean on. So music for me, it's all of those things that are involved in lifing.
Yeah, I agree. ... To me, it's breath, which is still life. I do believe I could survive if I had to, but I don't want to. So I ask God, can I sing till I don't have air anymore? And that's what I believe He will do for me. I have to. I mean, I've gone through it up and down, around and around, raised my daughter on music, I'm proud to say. And I've helped with my granddaughter, all on music. Because it is comforting. I can sing to myself and bring the day around. You know those old spirituals, and they were singing them? And if I'm not singing those words, I am singing the words of my own heart, and it will bring me around. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have therapy if you need it, but that's my therapy. It's just bringing it down. And it could be a moan, like a well, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, so those moans, they're better than words.
Well, thank you for giving me the Spirit. In fact, as we close, I wanted to say thank you for coming. One of the songs that comes to mind when I think of listening to you and hearing your story is "Every Time I Feel the Spirit." And so I want to thank you for sharing your joy and your spirit and help us keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
I see got it going on. Gonna keep on.
Thank you to today's guest and to you, our listening audience, for joining us today. As Plato says, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Until next time, keep keeping on.